whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
For joining us on the Nikki Medoro Show. I am wearing red. I will get to why I am wearing red today, if you do not know, in just a moment. But I first want to say thank you, and I think he's home from his vacation, our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz, who will be back live with us starting next week. But he's the reason why we can do this whole jam. Give Steve a call. It is officially tax season. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Click the thumbs up button. We absolutely love it. It shows support for the show. We love it. And it helps us grow our algorithm. We were discussing yesterday how it wasn't necessarily popping up for some of you, myself and others. They see it like right on the homepage when you go to YouTube. Bam, right in the middle, you'll see my show. So if you keep clicking the thumbs up button, maybe that helps your algorithm as well. If you want to be part of the cool club, if you want to be a Medorable, as I like to say, please consider donating to our Patreon. The money goes to myself. It goes to Kim. Just find the link to donate any amount you want to on our Patreon at the Nikki Medoro Show.com. There's also merchandise. Most of it I have packed away because I am moving. Big move this weekend. But there is an example right there of the t-shirts that are available. And somebody tweeted at me a picture of the tumbler. I do have some of the other pictures I like to keep showing of some of the new stuff. The AirPod Pros, a couple of you have reached out telling me you've purchased that. We have it in the Pro and the regular. We have hoodies now. The black and the white, they both have it. They look the same, except the black has the red air tower. The white has the black one. So there you go. But I appreciate all the support. And of course, you guys wearing it out and just kind of advertising my show in this way is awesome. Oh, yes, John, thank you for the tip. If you keep hitting the thumbs up, it subtracts it. Don't be like my mama. My mama did that. She's just clicking it over and over and over again. I adore her. I love you, Mom. Just once. That's all it takes. Just one little bit of love is all we need. So yeah, if you want to pick up any of the merchandise, and I'll keep putting stuff out. Also, if you want to see something, if there's some sort of idea where you're like, I have enough hoodies, I have enough t-shirts. If you want more cups, I mean, I'm kind of limited in what I can create, but I could try anything you want. If you want pajama pants, let me know. And I can kind of create it for you guys, because this is, of course, our show. Also, the super chat is live. If you're new to the show or you're new to the super chat, it's basically the $ under the live chat. And you can also donate during the replay if you're listening after our live broadcast. And you can throw us some dollars, a super comment, a super thank, a super sticker. We have some people that donate every single day on the show because that's the way they like to do it. And finally, I'm almost done. PayPal is another way that I think you guys are very used to. The PayPal email address is the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. All right. We got all of that out of the way. We have a great show coming up. It's Friday. So I'm doing Friday food. So you may hear the doorbell ring, or is Nugget around here? Nugget barking. So I have food coming. And I've never tried this food before. Okay. So it's hard for me to decide what kind of food I'm going to do on the Friday food segment. It's National Carrot Cake Day, which I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. And maybe if my daughter gets out of her bedroom, because she's still recuperating from surgery. She made an amazing cake for Harry Styles' birthday the other day. We haven't even cut into it because she loves it so much. She did a really good job. But I didn't want to do cake. I didn't feel like that was really in the essence of what Friday food is. I've had carrot cake before. So I thought to myself, what have you never had before? And then I saw this article about how Yelp has the top 100 places to eat. Okay, now, of course, this is skewed because it's Yelp, right? We all know the problem with Yelp. But only 2 Bay Area restaurants ranked in the top 100 places to eat. And apparently, they're both in Burlingame. So let's see. One was Gigi's Cafe and Curry Hyuga. Hyuga. I'm probably butchering that, but Burlingame is way too damn far to get food here. So then I thought to myself, well, why don't we look at the top 10 in my hometown of San Jose? And so I did that. And so when it arrives, we'll kind of delve into that. I've never tried this cuisine before. I looked at the top 10 list and I was like, you know what? Let me go outside my comfort zone. Now, it's not as if I've never had the actual food ingredient before, but I've never had it in this way. I went on Yelp. I found the restaurant that I was going to try. And then I went through the Yelp reviews to see, what they liked, because obviously this is the Yelp decision. And so I chose something there. And I also chose something quote unquote healthier. Now there's a Q&A in the live chat. You should maybe see it right at the top. And it's for you to weigh in on what kind of cuisine I should try next Friday. So I'm going to try to remember to post that. You guys can send me ideas. You could send me restaurants. Of course, I'd like to get it live and hot. So it really needs to be within my vicinity of delivery. Okay. So I know that might limit ideas, but if you can give me an idea about cuisine, then I can kind of find it that way. And so do that. Answer the questions. We'll go through the questions throughout the show. And then what else are we talking about today? It's insane. It's insane that an appeals court has ruled that domestic abusers can keep their guns. We're going to get into it. I'm going to wait for Kim McAllister also to slide on over from Mark Thompson's show, because it's upsetting when you look at the statistics on the number of women who are killed by their domestic violence abusers. How many are shot? And just the availability of these types of guns when you know somebody is obviously violent and yet you still let them keep their weapon. So we'll touch on that. Also, we're going to get into a Florida school that now it's optional to answer this question, but they're considering later this month on making it a mandatory question on, the forms you have to fill out to participate in school sports, on when you have your period. When was the date? Do you have your period? When was the date of your last period? And so it's upsetting to me, but I want to, when we talk about this, and we'll talk about it this hour, I want you to tell me, is it a big deal? Obviously this is in Florida. So, but things that happen in one state tend to bleed over, pun intended, into others. So is it a big deal? Oh, my husband is bringing me my food. All right. So it's here. Thank you, my love. It's always nice to have a handsome delivery. Thank you. So I'll get to that in a moment. We'll do it with Kim when she gets here. But when you're talking about a school district asking these questions, am I just have this liberal mindset that it's intrusive and it's none of their business? Or is it a simple question that people could just say yes or no to? Right? I mean, just say yes or no to. Now, it was optional. They're going to consider later this month making it mandatory. But I've already had some people online, I think it was on my Twitter page, responding to my question of like, people should just say no and not answer it. But you guys can tell me what you think. We'll get an update on Santa Cruz after the devastating storm that flooded Capitola restaurants. We also have an update on that Atherton housing decision. Have you guys seen that? Remember, we were talking about Steph Curry and Aisha Curry kind of writing to the city officials saying, please stop this housing development. Well, there's an update on that. No matter how much you pay for your home, whether it's in Atherton or somewhere else, crime will find you. So we'll get into that as well. And have you been following? I have not known this this story. Pardon me, my nose is running. It's cold in here. This dog trainer that was found on that app Thumbtack apparently has a history of either dog napping or abusing animals. So NBC Bay Area did a deep dive into this. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we'll lighten things up towards the end of the show, of course, with Tim Sica, who will join us to talk about movies. I love to get his take. He has seen, I want to see the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. He's going to tell me whether or not it's worth it or not. All right. So I am wearing this fabulous red color because today is February 3rd and it's Go Red for Women. And if you don't know what National Go Red for Women Day is, it is to raise awareness about heart disease and the toll it takes on women. So they're asking women to wear red and donate to fund research. Of course, this is the American Heart Association that is asking you to do that. Now, the American Heart Association says heart disease and strokes kill a woman every 80 seconds. Does that help boggle your mind? Every 80 seconds, a woman has a stroke from heart disease and dies. And they say most of these are preventable. So let's go through some of the facts that I found on the American Heart Association's website. 44 million women in the US are affected by cardiovascular disease. 90% of women have one or more risk factors for heart disease or stroke, and 80% of heart disease and stroke events can be prevented. Scientific evidence proves heart disease is different in women than compared to men. And that's important because a lot of times, medical research, medical facts, medical education kind of puts everything like, oh, if it happens to a man, it happens to a woman, or it's in your mind that way. The typical things that you look for or feel are different between men and women. Fewer women than men survive their first heart attack. Like I mentioned, the symptoms of a heart attack are different in women and often misunderstood, even by some doctors. Women have a higher lifetime risk of a stroke than a man. And every year, 55,000 more women than men have a stroke. Let's see. Let's break it down by ethnicity. Okay. African Americans more likely than Caucasians to experience sudden cardiac arrest at a much earlier age. Hispanic women are likely to develop heart disease 10 years earlier than Caucasian women. Only 36% of African American women and 34% of Hispanic women know that heart disease is the leading cause of death in women. That's compared with 65% of Caucasian women who know that fact. Women who are involved with the Go Red for Women movement live healthier lives. I like that statistic. I'm trying to promote it. And nearly 90% have made at least one healthy behavior change because of how they're being educated about this. And I think that's important. So it's National Go Red for Women. If you see a lot of women out there wearing red, this is why. Now, speaking of things that kill women, right? Have to get into that appeals court ruling. And it's upsetting, it's disturbing, and I don't quite understand what they're thinking. And obviously it's two-way freaking nonsense, right? Talking about statistics, and let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show because Kim, I know you've seen the headline.
Yep.
Deciding that, you know what, yeah, you might be in a domestic abuser, but your Second Amendment right to own and possess a gun, that is protected above all else.
For some reason, you sound low to me today. Like the volume is a little low. This makes me so mad.
Okay,
It makes me so upset, this story. The women are just not safe. Even a restraining order isn't enough to say this person is violent enough that they need to stay away from me. Oh, but they can have a gun. What?
Right.
It's like where's the common sense applied? It isn't.
It isn't. And the problem is again, and I don't want to make this men versus women, but it's common sense that if someone, whether they're a man or a woman, have displayed enough to bring, charges, court appearances, violence, that you would remove a weapon from their home. As if, can there not be, is my question, any sort of restrictions? So let's go over this. Now, this law is decades old, okay? And it barred domestic abusers from possessing firearms. But an appeals court ruled that it contradicts, and this just irks me, the nation's historical tradition of access to guns, even if you are a domestic abuser. They say the statute is unconstitutional because it gives too much power to Congress to determine who qualifies as law-abiding, responsible citizens when it comes to gun ownership. I say nay. I say if you beat the crap out of a woman or anybody, you have shown a tendency toward violence. You have used a rash judgment and maybe your ability to make responsible decisions in the heat of the moment should be under review. And you should lose your weapon while we decide whether or not you are sane enough to keep your gun.
Right.
One New Orleans-based court asked in this decision, could speeders be stripped of their right to keep and bear arms? Political nonconformists? People who do not recycle or drive an electric vehicle? These are the nonsense arguments. These are the nonsense arguments that people are making. And it drives me nuts. Now, this is all based on the conviction of a Texas man, Zaki Rahimi. Now, he pleaded guilty to violating the law by keeping a pistol at his home despite being subject to a civil domestic violence restraining order for assaulting his former girlfriend. Rahimi, now this is what the appellate panel wrote. Rahimi, while hardly a model citizen, is nonetheless part of the political community entitled to the Second Amendment guarantees all other things equal. Now, Rahimi's home was searched after he was involved in 5 shootings in a 2-month span, including firing at a police officer in December of 2020, firing at a driver after getting in a car accident, and shooting multiple rounds in the air in January of 2021 after his friend's credit card was declined at a Whataburger restaurant. Now, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, is, of course, going to be looking into this. But it just goes to show, I mean, and just taking the domestic violence aspect specifically, it just goes to show, because obviously domestic violence largely affects women, that we're not protecting women. Every month, an average of 70 women, every month, 70 women are shot and killed by an intimate partner.
Yeah.
Nearly 1 million women alive today have reported being shot or shot at by an intimate partner. More than 4.5 million women have reported being threatened with a gun by an intimate partner. And in more than half of mass shootings over the past decade, the perpetrator shot a current or former intimate partner or family member as part of a rampage. There is a line that we can draw between domestic abusers and gun violence. And yet, this conservative court does not see the need to remove guns from these people's homes. And I just don't understand. I really, really don't.
Well, it's asking for more violence. And it's what it's saying is, yeah, we know someone's going to get hurt. But you know what? This whole gun thing, it's more important than your safety, America. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, the Second Amendment, above all else, that's it. We have to look at history. And back then they didn't have this, so we can't have this now. I mean, it boggles my mind. Now, there was an analysis done. Obviously a lot of commentators are coming. And then there were people weighing in on this whole history, this historical tradition. Because the Republican appointed majority not only expanded the right to carry guns in public, but now has a test that strikes down gun regulations. Unless, according to Justice Clarence Thomas's opinion, they're consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. So if they didn't have the regulations back then, we can't have them now? That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
Justice Stephen Breyer joined Sotomayor and Kagan, and he pointed to predictable consequences, including a study that found women are 5 times more likely to be killed by abusive partners who have access to guns. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen, Kim. We just really do. And it's tragic. But let me ask you this, and you guys let me know in the chat. Does this make you want to own a gun now? I mean, because they're going to come after California's gun laws, because California's gun laws don't meet this historical precedent. Governor Newsom was going off about that. He's like, any sort of restrictions we have, now someone can sue and take it up to this Supreme Court and say, look, history didn't have it, so I don't know why we have to have these regulations. It is insane. And while I won't myself purchase a gun, there is a part of me that thought to myself, women, arm yourselves, because the men are.
It's not the way that I want this country to be.
No, neither do I.
it's not the way that I feel it's not our best America. But
No.
then I think, you know what? As I've heard said before, America gets the America it deserves, right? And so people voted for the lawmakers
Mhm.
that or the executive that put the people on the Supreme Court that are making these decisions. So it's all of our fault. It's our
Yeah.
fault. We did this. So maybe this is what more people want. Maybe I am in such a minority that I am, I don't think I'm crazy, but maybe I'm the crazy one and everyone else is correct. But it's so frustrating to see America turn this way.
It's we just love our guns. We love our guns more than each other.
Yeah.
We don't want to protect each other. We think each other is a threat, which in many cases I guess they are now. And so we have to arm ourselves to the hilt. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, Karen writes in, what's so hard to understand about guns being okay to be held by those in a well-regulated militia? People have to speak up and say no more. We do. We do. But it's not being echoed across the nation. People twist themselves into pretzels, as I love to say, to make an argument that it's okay that fewer gun laws, lax gun laws are okay because we're blowing things out of proportion. I love when people say California has all these gun laws and yet they still have mass shootings. As if we're in a bubble. As if people don't break the law. As if people don't come from other states.
Right.
I mean, that's what's insane. Is if they would just, if we could be united in this and protect our children, then maybe something could happen. But it's just not going to happen. Absolutely not. I do want to throw this out, Kim, in this segment because a lot of people are already weighing in the comments. So the Florida High School Athletic Association's Board of Directors is going to be discussing at its next meeting, which is happening later this month on the 26th and the 27th, whether questions about student athletes' periods on a physical evaluation form should remain optional or be mandatory. So right now it's there. And it's a question. It's about like 5 questions. I mean, you have to say yes to one to answer the others, of course. The first one is, do you get your period? And then it asks when your last period is.
Okay.
I mean, can anybody explain to me why an athletic program would need to know about my period unless it was simply to find out who is transgender or not? I mean, that's it, right? I mean, there's no why. Why do they need to know?
Maybe if it's always been a question, perhaps it's a health question, right?
Well, that's what they're framing it under. Yes, absolutely. That's what they're framing it under.
Yeah, because to show if you're like, I think extreme athletes, if you run too much or lose too much weight or you're all, you have no fat on your body or whatever, you can not have a period. So maybe there's some type of health question. But I don't know for a high school program.
Why do they need to know that at the get-go, though? I mean, if I was losing a lot of weight or, I had to be pulled from the sport then you can handle it on a case-by-case basis.
And
this has to be.
Isn't it really part of your health physical where you go over it with the doctor?
I mean,
like that, if you pass your physical with you, because usually even for high school sports, you do have to have some type of, physical note from a doctor saying that you passed your physical. And so if that's the case, then all that can be handled with your doctor. The school doesn't need to know about your period. No.
Exactly. And to make it like that. So I posed this on Twitter. I saw it. One response was from this person that goes by the initial J Mar, who, it's funny, Twitter showed me all the past responses that they wrote before they ended up on this one. It seems this criteria is determined if an actual woman is competing in women's sports. In fairness to actual girls and women, a legitimate concern forced by today's craziness.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Pam tweeted at me, every girl should write, I have no periods on any form so that the bastards can guess. Bunch of creepy perverts trying to control young women's lives. Just say no. And I like that one. Just everybody get together and it's like, it's none of your damn business. If I'm having a health issue that's related to my menstrual cycle, I'm not going to talk to my coach about it. I'll talk to my doctor about it.
Right.
I mean, that just seems, and I don't understand. And Lori's asking, what's the context? We know what the context is in Florida. They don't want transgender athletes. They just don't. Yeah, CR, exactly. And a way to track pregnancies. It's misogyny and it's dangerous. And it's a road to Gilead, of course. That is a comment of The Handmaid's Tale, of course. Yeah, Janet writes in, I would not let my child fill out that question at all. Ooh, SF Tesla, interesting point. No period tips authorities that you're an abortion candidate. Ooh, interesting. I don't know. It again, it's go red for women. We're trying to protect women's lives. This has to do with heart disease, but protecting women, protecting all of us, right? It's insane the way this country has moved so very quickly following the Trump presidency and his appointments to the U.S. Supreme Court. It is so very disappointing.
Next time you think your vote doesn't matter,
exactly.
Look what happens when not enough of us get out there and vote. There's no reason that needed to happen, that he needed to be president. No reason. What a catastrophe for America that continues.
Yeah. I mean, and that's such an excellent point because people are like, oh, just calm down.
Yeah.
It's just one presidency. What can happen? What's the worst that can happen? You women marching. What are you marching about? Don't be so crazy. This is why. This is why.
Because years later, we're still paying the price.
Absolutely.
Yep. And we'll continue to do so.
Oh, this is gross. CR writes, want to end this nonsense? Then every girl should send in bloody tampons and pads to the school. I don't know about that. That's kind of disgusting, but yeah, I hear you. I definitely that would do it for me. Absolutely. All right. Coming up, we'll do Kim's news, and then it is Friday. So we're going to have our Friday food segment. I also want to touch on the USDA announcing rigorous new school nutrition standards. And I want you guys to tell me what it's like in your school and as far as the food that's being offered, and do your kids actually eat it? Because there's this common thing happening at my daughter's school where it doesn't even matter. Absolutely doesn't even matter. So we'll go over some of the new USDA guidelines. I do have food. It is on Yelp's top 10 best restaurants in San Jose. Oh. And it's food I've never tried before. It's a cuisine I've never tried before. And then my daughter is sitting here with a pouty face because she wants to show off her Harry Styles cake. So we'll also have that coming up.
Okay. Well, it was because we missed his birthday, right?
Well, she didn't, but I guess we did.
We did?
She made this cake, 2 days ago? 2 days ago. And it looks good. So I'll show that off because she really wants, she's proud of herself and I'm proud of her as well. Oh, she wants me to eat it too. So I'll eat that also in the Friday food segments. Please make sure you click that thumbs up button just once. That's all we need. It really helps the show. It helps our algorithm and all that fun stuff.
I like your shirt today, by the way.
I'm wearing it because it's Go Red for Women today.
Okay. Yeah.
You're supposed to wear it to raise awareness about heart disease. Leading killer of women, Kim McAllister. And that also played a role in the food that I chose.
Okay.
That's also a hint on the food that I chose because of heart disease and things like that. You'll probably be proud of me. If not, I'll bend my own arm and pat myself on the back. All right, that's all coming up. But first, let's take a look at Kim's news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Let's get right to the balloon. Whew. This White House says the Chinese spy balloon moving over the continental United States is a clear violation of American sovereignty. On Air Force One heading to Philadelphia, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said President Biden was briefed on the high altitude balloon moving through U.S. airspace. But meantime, former Vice President Pence is calling on the Biden administration to shoot it down. Well, they don't want to shoot it down because they think that falling debris and metal pieces and burning metal could have the potential to hurt people down below. So for now, they're thinking it's going to float over U.S. airspace for a couple more days before it goes away. And China is saying, no, it's not a spy balloon, you guys. It's just a weather balloon. It's a weather balloon that blew off course. Okay. We'll see how that is received. So that's the Chinese weather balloon. Kind of interesting looking. Let's get to this, the Goshen murders near Fresno. The 2 people finally under arrest and for the execution style murders of 6 people in Central California. Tulare County Sheriff Mike Boudreau said one of the men went peacefully. The other one didn't, engaging in a gun battle with ATF agents. He was shot, but he is expected to survive. So you have 2 people under arrest in the horrible killings of 6 people near Goshen. The hunt continues for the suspect who shot and killed a New Jersey city councilwoman. This is right outside of her home in Sayreville, New Jersey. There are reports investigators are looking into Eunice Dumfour's professional and personal relationships now and her ties to a church. The 30-year-old mother was a Newark native who recently married a pastor who lives in Nigeria. Here's a picture of her. This is where she was shot, at the Camelot at Lemur Luxury Rentals, where she rented a home. The Treasury Department is now expanding its definition of what is an SUV exactly, and they're doing it to make more electric vehicles eligible for tax credits. The rule change will make some crossover vehicles that share similar features of an SUV eligible for a $7,500 credit. That includes Tesla's 5-seat Model Y, the Volkswagen ID4, and GM's Cadillac Lyriq. The owners of a church about 10 miles east of Modesto are dealing with quite the mess. You can see the cement all over the floor here. But yeah, they're dealing with cement on the floor due to a sewer project accident from almost 2 months ago. Officials say the cement filled up rooms inside of this church and a home on the property where the minister lives. City officials say they are struggling to find a solution because the insurance company and the contractor are not taking responsibility for this cement accident. What a nightmare. Tickets to see Beyonce on her upcoming tour, they are extremely in high demand. In fact, demand so high, Ticketmaster has already said it already exceeds the number of tickets available by more than 800% based on the registration numbers in some cities. That includes Atlanta, Chicago, Houston, Vegas, Los Angeles, New York, and Washington, D.C.
Did you sign up for the Ticketmaster thing, like the
No, did I sign up
verified
for it?
fan? Yeah, the verified fan. I did. I gave it a shot. I'm like, you know what? I'd love to see Beyonce in concert. And so you go to Ticketmaster and you just put in your email and you might get it. I mean, it's like you might not get anything. So
I just figure tickets to see that concert would be so expensive that why would I sign up anyway? And then you get there and the place is packed with people and there's COVID flying around. I'm a no.
It's outside. It's Levi's. It's not indoors.
You're gonna try to go see Beyonce?
I mean, if I get an opportunity to buy tickets, hell yeah. But if I don't, then obviously I don't. I'm not going to fight for it, But yeah, I mean,
you and the rest of America.
Exactly. How many opportunities do you get to see someone like Beyonce in concert? I'd give it a shot.
That's right. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve Moskowitz is the one to call. 888-TAX-DEAL. He's also at MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. This lovely lady right here is my daughter,
Marley.
And it is Friday, so we're going to do some Friday food. Now, before I get to what I purchased from Yelp, we're going to try Marley's cake. Now, this is what Harry Styles' birthday was what? 2 days ago? The first. Okay, hold on. Let me turn down the music because I want people to hear you. Okay. So it was on the 1st, and she wanted to make a cake that looked like this album. Okay, that's what we were going for, correct? I would say she nailed it pretty good. There's the cake. Come on, people. She did a pretty good job, right?
Oh, it looks amazing.
Right? She did
Yeah.
really good. So I will admit, I was a doubter.
She was doubting me.
I
was telling her what I was gonna do, and she was like, "That's not gonna turn out good."
Well, when she shows me the album cover, we're not bakers over here. We don't have any of the tools.
I'm great.
I'm impressed. I am very impressed.
When she started with the pants, so she started with the pants and moved her way up. I mean, she did the background first. I mean, the head was the one I was most concerned. I was like, how are you going to make the head? But it looks pretty good.
It looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't taste the cake. She didn't cut it. It's just been sitting in my fridge for 2 days. And it's just white cake, right? That's what you mean. Okay.
But we didn't have any measuring cups because
we packed them all.
Well,
we had to eyeball it.
I just eyeballed
Okay.
it.
What do you think?
It's pretty good. You want to take a little bite? She's all mad at me because I won't let her eat candy or anything. There you go. That's pretty good for eyeballing the measurements, especially in baking when you know you shouldn't do that. Very good, my love. All right. Thank you. Say bye.
I'll stay. It's okay.
Okay. Our next thing that we're trying. Okay. So it is Go Red for Women Day. You're going to make this difficult for me, aren't you, child? So I decided to look on because there was 2 Bay Area restaurants, Kim McAllister, that made Yelp's top 100 places to eat. Okay. Both of them were in Burlingame. Now, I'm not getting food delivered from Burlingame. So then I Googled, what are the top 10 restaurants on Yelp in San Jose? Here are the list, okay? Number 1 was The Table, which is like an American breakfast brunch place.
Okay.
Number 2 was the Funny Farm, which is like burgers, chicken wings, whatever. The Grandview Restaurant, which I've been to, but it's only open at night, so that was a no. Mingle's Mango, which is an Asian fusion dim sum place.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Burma Choice, which is Burmese food.
Okay.
Orchard City Kitchen, which is American tapas bar. Egghead Sando Cafe, which is like a breakfast place. Baka Yard, which is actually very close to me. It's Jamaican food. Serious Dumpling, again, Asian fusion. And Hunky House or Hunkai House, which is Korean food.
I'm like, Hunky House, what?
So I decided, Kim, to try Burmese food. So I've never had Burmese food. Have you ever had Burmese?
Never.
Never. Okay, so this is what I decided to get. It's shrimp eggplant. Okay. Did you get me a fork? This cake on it. This
shrimp eggplant, huh?
You're not. Right. Are you an eggplant eater? I love eggplant.
I love eggplant. I don't seek it out, but I wouldn't take it away.
Now, this is something that on Yelp, I'm just going to shove food in my mouth. On Yelp, got so many good reviews. They were like, because that's what I was looking in the reviews. What should I try?
Sure.
And everyone's like, hands down, it was either the tea leaf salad or the garlic eggplant with shrimp or just the garlic eggplant. But they also said it was hot. So let's see.
What are you thinking?
Is
it spicy? No? Okay.
It's not spicy enough. It's good. You want to taste it?
What is it?
This is just shrimp.
With what on it?
Sauce. You try it?
I guess.
Yeah? No, but it's spicy. Maybe not good for your tummy. Sorry, kid.
That was like a want it psych.
All
right.
I will. Anybody in the comments ever eat Burmese food? Eggplant is good and it's a filling vegetable. Exactly. I guess this is Chinese eggplant or Japanese eggplant. It's let me try.
Louise says Burmese is the bomb.
This is so good. This is really good. So I have a question in the chat room of what cuisine I should try next. Is there a cuisine, Kim, that you've always wanted to try but you haven't?
No.
Are you adventurous?
No.
You're not adventurous at all? I mean, okay.
I don't like hot spice. And so that really limits me on what I can, but I wouldn't not try something. Oh, hold on. You all right? This is why we don't eat on the radio. But okay. So Burmese food, after what you just went through there, I think I would try Burmese food.
Sorry, I didn't want to cough into the microphone.
Yeah.
That is so good. If I didn't have to host the show, I'd be eating that left and right. I'll have to heat that
Okay.
up. So this was Burma House in San Jose.
Okay.
Bomb. Like 10 out of 10.
Oh,
Good.
wow.
I'm not coughing because of the spice. I'm coughing because like
John says it sneaks up on you.
it sneaks up on me now or later. Like, tell me which one it does. But I have never. Oh, German. Nick says German food. So I go to in my neck of the woods in San Jose, Teskey's Germania. We go there all the time. That's bomb. Judy, I've never been able to tolerate spicy food. I love it. That could be much spicier. I would actually love if it was spicy. And no, it was just like something hit me in the back of the throat, in all honesty.
Do you want to hear a horror story from my childhood?
Please.
Okay, so I think this has to do with why I don't like spicy food.
Okay.
My mom did something to me, punished me in a way that made me not like spicy food. And I'm not going to blame her because her mom did it to her. All right.
Abuse trickles down through the generations.
That's okay, it's a cyclical thing. Somehow I'm not doing it to my kids. So the cycle stops with me. But somehow she got the idea, my grandmother got the idea that a good punishment was stick out your tongue and put Tabasco sauce on it.
Ooh.
And then don't give the child water or milk for a while. So my mouth would be on fire. I remember having to sit on the porch, and I was a handful. Let's just say I was trouble. And so I would often get the Tabasco sauce on the tongue and I would have to sit outside with my mouth on fire. And so to me, hot, spicy food is like, that's punishment. Why would I ever want to do that to myself? So it took away any joy of liking that spice, that hot spice.
Oh yeah, because you equate it to punishment, obviously. Yeah,
so
you know what I mean?
And again, I don't blame my mom. Her mom did it to her. I get it. But yeah, we know better
I'm
now.
not trying to do the soap on the tongue thing or the soap in the mouth thing. I just screamed, "You're poisoning me," and then she stopped. Kim says she's never tried Ethiopian food. I have not tried Ethiopian food either. That's
Eritrean,
something
right?
What?
Yeah, it's called Eritrean.
Oh, is that what it's called?
I think so.
I've never tried it. I wouldn't know. See, the reason why I don't try different cuisines, although maybe I'll do what I did with the Burma House, I don't know what to order. I'm like, okay, well, what is the thing that I have to try first? And I wanted to get something that was one, spicy, and two, at least had ingredients I like. I like eggplant. I like shrimp. It wasn't meat, so I was trying to stay away from like meat. Singaporean food. I don't even know what Singaporean food is. I'm assuming I would go like Asian type of, but I don't know those flavors. That's interesting. Yes, tea leaf salad. That was like the number one thing. 1117 says, sounds Mediterranean. Yeah, eggplant, spicy, garlicky, shrimpy stuff is just delicious. So I will definitely explore more of this restaurant. Again, Burma House. It is on the top 10 list of the best restaurants in San Jose. Now, I'll get food delivered a little bit farther, but I want it to be fresh. So, it's going to have to be semi-local. But if you like a cuisine in your town, I'll try to find something here to try it out. So put something in the Q&A and I'll try it next time. Burmese is like a mix of Thai and Indian. Yeah. Great Ethiopian restaurant in San Carlos. On San Carlos, I think you mean to say, in San Jose. Okay. If you know the name, Luce, let me know. I'll try it out. I will definitely. But you also, if you know the food, give me an idea of what to order, because I'll be like just ordering it online, and I want to eat something that I'm going to like. I want to give it the best shot. I've had Vietnamese food, but but I haven't gone too deep into Vietnamese food. So if there's something else I should try, just send it along, and I will definitely do that, because yes, I like our Friday food segments, and it's always delicious. And
I just started getting a flurry of texts from Julia.
Oh, and what did she do now?
She got a bad grade on her math test, and she's freaking out.
Why is she freaking out?
Because she thinks I'm going to be mad at her.
But she told you.
Yeah.
She didn't hide it from you.
The truth is, she did better on this math test than I could have done.
What kind of math is she doing?
It's 9th grade math. So she's in 8th grade. So she's It's a higher
Advanced
math.
math. Okay.
Yeah. If you put 9th grade math in front of me,
Oh no, you put 4th grade math in front of me sometimes. I'm like, what?
yeah, no, it's not going to go well. So I'm like,
Oh.
how upset can I really be at the kid? I mean, yeah.
So what'd she get?
She got a 77. I
Oh,
consider that's
please. Come on.
almost a B. I mean, it is a
Well, and you have to
C,
be on a curve because she's doing advanced math.
right?
So
But you worry about math because if you don't get a high grade on one test, then everything's predicated upon what you learn next. So I worry
you
that
have
then
to still learn it. Yeah.
right, like she has to go back now and figure out what went wrong. But yeah, so but she's all
Oh,
right.
it's fine, Julia. Yeah, my son. Did I
Yeah,
tell you about my son in advanced math? So he had to take a test. They take tests to kind of place you, and he
sure.
got placed. They're saying we think that you should go into advanced math, and he's like, I don't want to go into advanced math. And I told him, I go because it puts you on a different path in public school, right?
Right.
So if you take this math in, you can take this class sooner, which it does. That's just how math works in
That's
schools.
right.
And I told him, I'm like, look, if you're not being challenged, you're not growing. Right. It's that same line of like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room because you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not being challenged, you're not learning new things, that sort of thing. And so I think I've laid it on thick enough where he's going to consider it because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to
Yeah.
take the advanced math. It's up to him if he wants to do it. But I told him, I'm like, if they think that you're smart enough to know the math, then just give it a shot and see what happens.
See, so you're nice. You let them pick. If I, I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, you're taking the advanced math. No. And you go.
Yeah,
See?
I mean, I'm kind of that way, but at the
Yeah.
same time, the reason so this is the way I do it. Like I'm gonna lay it on so thick that they're gonna feel like I'm basically telling them to do it.
Here comes the mom guilt.
But I want them to have ownership of the
Right.
decisions that they're making. So even if after everything I say, he looks at me, he's like, I'm not doing it.
Right.
I'll say, okay, then you're not doing it. I mean, then I'd lay on even more guilt. Like, okay, but you've now chosen a path for yourself. How do you
Right.
feel about that? You feel guilty enough? But no,
Well, it is-
I live by it's your life, it's your
Yeah.
decisions, and you must live with them. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to be disappointed, but he
It
is
is
going to
true
shortchange himself.
that they need to be invested in it in order to be successful
Yes.
at it. So that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Janet writes in, my daughter was in AP Calculus, BC. I don't know what that means. And decided to drop because she got a bad grade on a test. She wants to be a history major in college, so she doesn't need AP Calc. Yes. One of my friend's daughters was talking about that. She was asking her parents, why do I have to take all these AP courses? What is this going to do for me in whatever I want to do in the future? And that's true. Life, especially school, is full of so many stressors that if it's not serving you in some way, like you don't have to do it. But if it's something like math, or maybe if you want to be an engineer or something along that road, it makes sense to kind of go for it. Oh, before college, maybe that's what that means.
I mean, yeah, but you need all those AP courses because if you do want to go to a big name school, you've got to have that high GPA, which you can
don't
only
need to go
get
to a
with
big
those
name
AP
school,
courses.
though.
If you don't care about that, then don't go to a big name school, right?
Yeah, exactly. I did want to get to this one thing. Speaking of school and speaking of food, which we just did. So the USDA has announced rigorous, quote unquote, new school nutrition standards.
Okay.
This is going to be rolled out gradually over the next few years. It will limit added sugars, including in flavored milks, because apparently before there was no federal standard for how much sugar could be included in school lunches. It will also further reduce the allowable amounts of sodium and emphasize whole grains. Who in the comments either ate school lunch regularly or have children who eat school lunch regularly? Kim, do your kids eat that or do they bring their own?
Julia will bring her own when she eats lunch at school because most of the time she doesn't eat anything at school. That's a whole nother issue. Jacob loves the school lunch and he will eat whatever they give him and then ask for more.
So my daughter is like your daughter. She does not eat lunch at school, even before all of her stomach problems, right? Nobody was eating. Now some of her friends would eat. And then all the moms were texting each other like, is your daughter eating? Is your daughter eating? But my son, he, especially in elementary school, not so much in middle school, though, I don't know. he loved when he found out that at the morning recess they gave snacks. Oh, he was in there like with his tray, like, load me up. So maybe it's a boy thing. I don't want to just say it's a boy or a girl thing, but I will say this. I wish, and I don't know if it's like this at your school, I wish the parent could have a say on what within the school lunch their child could eat. So,
Right.
If you have a laundry list of options such as salad, fruit, and then pizza or chicken nuggets, guess which one the kids are going to choose, even if it has whole grains, even if, it's low fat cheese or whatever you want to say is quote unquote healthy. My kid's always going to choose the chicken nuggets and never the salad. My kid's always going to choose, unless
Right.
this is what they hand you and that's all you can get.
That's right.
So that's the only thing I would change about the school lunches. John Smith writes in, sugar causes most cancers. There has been a correlation between that. Obviously not causation because it doesn't happen to everybody. Karen writes in, schools are apparently heavily influenced by junk food and soda manufacturers to feed their kids their products rather than something healthy. I doubt that will change. Well, remember, there was a big movement to get soda machines changed, right? The types of drinks, more water, less soda, less sugary drinks. When it's the only option, what does your kid choose, right? And some people have a problem even with like sugar-free because it has artificial sweeteners and things like that.
Yeah.
Neiman says, my son used to eat lunch because he liked it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, at my school, we had like Friday hot lunch, sloppy Joe day, which I loved, pizza day, things like that. But it wasn't, you brought your own lunch at my school. So it wasn't anything that I have that much experience with. John says, when I went to school in Louisiana, they had great cafeteria food cooked by really good cooks. The chili and cornbread casserole was good. Don't you also hate it when you see school lunches from around the world and they're just
So
things
much
that we would
better.
pay top dollar in a fancy schmancy restaurant
Yeah.
to eat? I don't know why we can't do that here. I really, really can't.
They used to have at SoCal High School, they used to have this bread at snack time, and everyone would line up to buy this bread, and it was like this, about this big, big piece of round toast, oval toast, and
Okay.
it was thick, and it almost looked like, you remember the bread they used to serve at Sizzler?
No,
Like the
I mean, I'm not a big, is it
no,
like a Texas toast type of thing?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And then it would be slathered with butter. Like,
Ooh.
I mean, but dripping with butter.
Okay.
And we could not get enough of it.
I
Your
bet. It
hands were
sounds
all
delicious.
oily out. Your face was all buttery afterward. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. But I mean, this begs the question, and I know somebody wrote in, oh, here we go, CR. Less sugar in school lunches. Tucker Carlson will likely have something to say about that. Because you remember former President Trump did away with the Obama administration's school cafeteria rules. Remember, Michelle Obama had the gardens and all those sorts
the
of
good
things. Well, Trump said it doesn't make sense if children don't want to eat it. So we're putting all this effort and time and the kids are just dumping all the stuff. Now, I don't often agree, but I do think that schools should lead by example. I think that if you're going to get a school lunch, it should have rules about sugar content, sodium, and things like that. But there also has to be, that's your only option if you're getting school lunch. It's not, and then we have pizza on the side or we have chicken nuggets on the side. And it's not as healthy because that's what kids actually eat. If kids are just dumping the apples and bananas and oranges in the garbage, it's wasting food.
Right.
And we need to make it so that they'll try it and like it. My kids are terrible eaters. I was a terrible eater as a kid. The whole try 3 bites. They'll try 3 bites and not want any more. And I mean, I still, obviously, I'm the parent and I keep pushing them to eat better, but kids will be kids. Yeah. And, we also have to, watch the amount of money that we're putting in towards this sort of thing. Kim says, we had a nutritionist in elementary school teaching healthy eating habits. My daughter in middle school, one of their electives is nutrition.
Cool.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You don't have that in your kids' school? Yeah. It's just an elective, though. I wanted her to take it, but she didn't take it. In 2010, Karen writes, Jamie Oliver, the British chef, tried to revolutionize school lunches into something healthy as shown on a TV series. He apparently failed. Do you know why, Karen, he failed? Was it just not taken up by schools or did kids not like it? I think that if kids made their own lunches, grew their own food, maybe they would try it. I know my daughter, she did, I don't know if it wasn't a nutrition class, I don't think. It was something else. And just for a couple of weeks, they did this. They had to try different types of foods and those sorts of things from the school garden. And yeah, she tried it, but was it enough to change her eating habits? No. Um, and then there's the pressure. Liz writes in, my kids always begged for Lunchables because their friends always had them.
Yep.
Lunchables are gross. I
Super
never, even
gross.
as a kid, never wanted them. It doesn't
Jacob
look good.
always wants, if he, even in the store, walking past the Lunchables, there's a hand reaching out. Loves the
Really?
Lunchables.
What
Oh,
kind
yeah.
does he like? I mean, because I'm like, it's ham and crackers.
doesn't
I have that
matter.
at home.
Even pick the grossest one, he wants it.
Because the pizza one is just, it's raw. It's
No,
not.
it's horrible looking. I'm always like, no Lunchables. No. They love it.
How dare you, JR? How dare you call me out as the Enchilada mom?
The Enchilada mom.
Dripping with sarcasm
Whoa.
here. You're
Them's
right,
fighting
but my
words.
kids don't eat Enchiritos. They would never touch it with a 10-foot pole. Do you want to know why? Because there's cheese on it. My kids are the only children that won't eat anything with cheese. No macaroni and cheese. I mean, they'll have pizza, but that is literally lasagna and pizza are the things I could think off the top of my head that has cheese that they would actually eat. But how dare you, JR? How dare you? Talk about my Enchilito. How dare you? Yeah, 11 writes in, Lunchables are all plastic. It looks disgusting. I mean, but some people, some people like gross food. Like me all the time. Although I ordered something semi-healthy, shrimp and vegetables. That's not too bad. I mean, come on now. Okay, so we're going to do Kim's news in just a moment. When we come back, what was I going to get to? Oh, we have an update. NBC Bay Area, actually, we'll hear from Mark's friend, our friend, Raj Mathai.
Awesome.
We have an update on the storm rebuilding happening in Santa Cruz and Capitola. We'll have an update on the Atherton housing vote, because remember, the Currys were like, please don't build that housing unit. I'll read you some of the things that people said. It's kind of funny. And then it doesn't matter where you live, whether it's Atherton or some other fancy schmancy neighborhood, crime will find you. Crime will absolutely find you. I am the owner of something that is constantly vandalized, and it really does make me think twice that even if I'm moving to Atherton or anywhere else, I could be a victim of this type of crime. So that's all coming up. Plus, stay tuned because Tim Sica will join us. It's Friday. We love to talk about movies.
Yeah.
I want his take on M. Night Shyamalan. I want no spoilers, but I want to see if he likes those twisty type of endings. So that's all coming up in the second part of the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. President Biden celebrating a better than expected jobs report. That is right. Biden says the state of the economy is strong, pointing to the January figures. They showed there were 517,000 jobs created last month, many more than the 187,000 that economists were expecting. There's an eye drop product being recalled over potentially serious bacterial infections. Global Pharma Healthcare is saying that their product called EzriCare, E-Z-R-I, EzriCare eye drops have caused adverse reactions in 55 people so far, some suffering permanent vision loss and one death reported due to a bloodstream infection. The CDC urges consumers stop using the EzriCare eye drops immediately. The Red Cross is giving a $10 Amazon gift card to anyone who donates blood in the next few weeks. Donors will also be entered to win a trip to Florida for two, including a round-trip airfare, 3-night hotel stay, and $750 in a gift card for expenses. To schedule an appointment to donate, you can go to redcrossblood.org. Here in the Bay Area, the Oakland Zoo is back open after that horrible sinkhole opened up. You can see the damage there. Well, now, earlier storm-related issues have been resolved. The closure started a month ago when a giant sinkhole formed right in front of the zoo entrance. It has since been repaired. All the animals remain safe during the wet weather. They're in good hands. The zoo's Glowfari illuminated night display is being extended through March 4th. For more information on events and hours, you can check oaklandzoo.org. That Arctic blast hitting the Northeast, unfortunately leading to the cancellation of the polar plunge. Yeah, it's so cold. An event scheduled for tomorrow in Port Washington, northeast of New York City, will not be taking place tomorrow after all. Officials canceled it due to wind chills expected to be 0 degrees. The event, which helps raise money for the Special Olympics, has been rescheduled for Saturday, March 25th. How cold does it have to be when the polar plunge gets canceled? I don't know, but that's all they can do. No. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses. If you need help with your taxes, call Steve Moskowitz. He's at 888-TAX-DEAL. You can see on your screen here, MoskowitzLLP.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
I haven't filed a tax return in years. What should I do?
Not filing a tax return for years is a surprisingly common problem. And the number one reason people don't file is just because they didn't have the money in year one, and then year two runs around, and then they say, well, how can I file year two if they didn't file year one and they still don't have the money? And then it becomes a lifestyle, a criminal-like lifestyle. The other reason is somebody depended on somebody, a spouse, a business partner, they're gone, they don't know what to do. The bottom line is we can get all of the records that the IRS and the state has on you. We'll file all the returns that you need to file, no matter how many years it is. And then if you're the typical person and you just don't have the money to pay the taxes, that's okay. There's all kinds of good options for you. In almost all cases, we do everything for you. You don't have to talk to the government, deal with them, have anything to do with them. And don't stick your head in the sand, because the IRS is hiring 87,000 new IRS agents, and you don't want them knocking on your door.
This is not legal advice, and you should consult with your tax attorney or professional. All right, thanks for joining us on the second part of the Nikki Medoro Show. Make sure you click that thumbs up button. We love it, and we love you. You guys are you guys make the show what it is, and we absolutely love you. Let's give some shout outs. Lori with a $20 donation in our super chat. Thank you for the best cake ever. Yes, thank you, Lori. She's talking about my daughter's Harry Styles cake that she made for Harry Styles' birthday. Nice. My daughter is obsessed with Harry Styles, as many people are. Flo with a $10 donation.
Oh, thank you, Flo.
Thank you, Flo. She writes, the news in the world seems to get more ghastly every day, but I'm thankful the Nikki Medoro Show helps to make life more bearable. Have an Irie Friday, Nikki and Kim. Big up. Thank you, Flo. Love it, love it.
Flo's a dude, by the way.
Oh, Flo is a dude. Thank you.
And a drama teacher to boot.
Ooh,
so,
at what school? At school or
a fancy South Bay school, I believe.
Ooh, Flo, South Bay, you're in my neck of the woods. There we go. Yep. And then Jim Slayton, $5 donation, still riding my beautiful balloon. Love it. Okay. Have fun on that balloon there, Jim. But yeah, you can donate to our super chat. We really appreciate any donation that you guys can make, whether it's through the super chat, whether it's through our Patreon at thenikkimedoroshow.com. You can find it there. PayPal donations can be sent to thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. And then, of course, you can get some merchandise if you like it. The Nikki Medoro shop.com is where you find all of that. How am I sounding, Kim? Am I still low?
No, you sound good.
Okay, good. Good. I turned myself up a little bit. I had some microphone issues that I think I have also fixed. So good. Our friend Kim, thank you for letting me know about that. Right. Okay, so we have our great friend Raj Mathai. He has filled in for the one and only Mark Thompson many times.
He has.
Obviously known all around the Bay Area. So he was talking to, I believe she's the owner of Margaritaville. Now, Margaritaville was severely damaged during the crazy storms. Remember the flooding? The ocean basically entered Zelda's, and although it had so much damage. So I want to play you, I'm seeing sun outside my windows, but of course, Kim, the weekend that I'm moving, We have to have rain in the forecast every single day.
course.
But it's fine. It's fine. But here again, a big thanks to Raj Mathai for this update on how things are going in Capitola. Here we go.
We were very fortunate that we didn't suffer quite as much structural damage as some of the other restaurants. We're still in the process of getting things fixed, but we're far enough ahead on the project that everything is safe and good to go. So we were able to open our doors today and get guests back in our restaurant.
Oh, that's great news. Been closed for a few weeks now. How did your employees survive? Were you able to pay them? What did they do?
So we were actually fortunate that we were able to keep a lot of our employees working to help with the cleanup. So we were able to get them involved in that process and keep them working. But now everyone's back to work and everyone's really excited about it.
How are your neighbors doing? There's a lot of businesses there, whether they're pizza parlors or ice cream shops. Are they reopening soon or have they already?
I know they're all hoping to reopen soon. Reconstruction is definitely underway, and we're just excited as we do start to reopen to have people come down and show their support for the village.
Eleanor, did the President Biden's visit a couple of weeks ago help the situation? Was it a political hot air or did it actually deliver some goods to you?
You know, I definitely think it brought a lot of eyes to the village. Prior to that, it was pretty empty, pretty quiet down here, which for us is really strange. We're not used to seeing the Esplanade like that. But it definitely brought a flurry of activity and a lot of people down to really see that Capitola does need their support right now.
Yeah, and I guess they're having some sort of like tipsy drinky thing next weekend, I believe it is, where you can have some wine and visit some of the stores and everything that are open. So yeah, I mean, I know the weather's not too hot right now, but you know.
That was Zelda's. Can you believe that? I mean, look at the beams that were shoved in there from the wharf. Just like, wow.
It's insane.
And they are really kind of there. And a lot of these places, it's taking a lot of time to get the money, the funding that they were promised. So they're having to foot the bill on their own to get open quicker.
Yeah.
And so that's what you see with Margaritaville and Zelda's and places like that that are doing it themselves. And hopefully they'll get that money to reimburse them down the line. Those places are close to my heart. You know, I went to high school in Santa Cruz, and my first job was at the Santa Cruz Wharf, at the Santa Cruz Yacht Harbor, selling T-shirts at a little place down there right next to the Crow's Nest. So I hope that these businesses survive, that have been there forever and that everyone loves, and that they can keep going.
Absolutely. We also have an update on the situation in Atherton. So we've talked a lot about housing this week. So they had like a 4-hour-long meeting on Tuesday. They wanted to end it. They wanted to call it a day. So the Atherton City Council resoundingly voted in favor of building 348 additional housing units within 8 years. I was reading this article in SFGate, and I mean, just some of the things that people were saying just really go back to the fact that rich people don't want to carry any of the burden to build more housing. I mean, I say it that bluntly. They don't want to have to do their part at all. They just don't want to. They pay a lot of money for their homes so that they don't have to live near a bunch of people. Okay. And so remember the Curry, Steph Curry, Aisha Curry. They did not want this housing development on 23 Oakwood Boulevard, or they want the city to pay for higher fences and more landscaping to kind of protect their privacy, which I actually have no problem with. Build the housing, and if somebody has some sort of privacy or safety concerns, then work with the city on that. Now, the Currys, though, aren't just other Atherton residents. I mean, the Currys, I think, because of who they are, I can understand. They don't want people, you know, they're a celebrity. Yeah. But other people in Atherton aren't necessarily celebrities. They're just freaking rich, right? So let's see. So let me read just some of the things in this article. Okay, so first off, Council member Rick DeGolia called the state's 348 unit requirement extremely excessive. Okay. Mayor Widmer says nobody wants to do any of this. Okay. Nobody does. He's like, do I think the requirement that we got is really out of line? I do. During public comments, a resident named Tom said of the difficulties of living in a town where the average home is close to $8 million. Those
$8 million people, they feel like they have enough money that they shouldn't have to live next to affordable housing. You know, that affordable housing, folks, even in Atherton, if affordable housing is $800,000, that brings in the people they don't want to hang out with.
But okay, so this is what he said. It's getting more and more dense and more difficult. And that's not what we all paid to be here for. It's not fair. It's attacking everyone's own values and their lives. Now,
It's not fair.
You paid $8 million for your home. That is a lot of freaking money. But don't you think if you can pay $8 million for a home, you have enough of a property line where they're not looking in your window necessarily, or you can afford to build a higher fence or something.
I'm gonna guess that if you paid $8 million for your home, you probably have enough millions to buy the parcel next door that you're worried about. I'm just saying.
Thank you. That's what
Now,
Louis Morante was saying with the Bay Area Council. It's like, buy that then. You can just, you know what? If everybody in Atherton is so united, unite your freaking money, because y'all have a lot, and buy up the properties that you don't want built. Right. There you go. Turn them into parks. Turn them into, I don't know, rich women and men's land. I have no idea, but it's either that or people are going to be allowed to build. That's just it. I mean, it's really bad. Okay, I want to read a couple of others. Okay, so Pam wrote, who knew that I would have anything in common with Steph and Aisha Curry? She said she's faced with the horrific notion of losing our privacy and our space by being in close proximity to another building. Widmer followed Pam's remarks by asking if she can shoot the three, which she joked what to shoot the three mean, which is just silly. Let's see. Other people, Vice Mayor Diana Hawkins, last name. I think we have a very specific need for workforce housing. Our police and fire travel multiple hours to get their jobs every day. That's a real thing. And we do need to address it. Then DeGolia responded, we have real genuine needs for affordable housing. We have almost no one who works in Atherton who can afford to live in Atherton. So
sure.
I mean,
the barista at the Atherton Starbucks doesn't live in Atherton.
Exactly. I mean, now it always begs the question, why do you work in Atherton? I would assume maybe the tips are better. I have no idea.
Well, maybe you need a job and that's where one was open. I don't know.
I know. I mean, you can go somewhere where you're closer to where you can actually live. Another woman named Stephanie started to cry, Kim. She literally begged them not to proceed with this plan. She says, I'm begging him to not do this to our neighborhood. Him being the guy that wants to build that big.
Please don't make me live near the poor people. Please don't.
Right. She says, this is what she says. She tries to pull at his heartstrings. She says, his mother, Evelyn, who died at 103 2.5 years ago, I've known my entire life, who would have never wanted him to do this to our neighborhood, to destroy it the way he plans to make a bunch of money and walk away, leave us all in the dust in your $8 million home. And yes, I'm NIMBY, whatever everybody wants to call me, because it's over my fence. I will have people staring into my yard, into my bedroom window. I can't imagine her lot is that small. I cannot imagine an $8 million house the lot is that small. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know Atherton. Maybe they're just
plant a tree.
House. But get some blinds. Do what the poor people do. Put some curtains up. I don't know what to tell you. Stop walking around naked. You have to carry some part of the load, Atherton. You have to. And I know that I'm speaking as someone who has no idea what it must be like to spend $8 million on a home. But that doesn't mean that the poor people or poorer people have to carry the weight of all of this. I mean, that's not fair if we're going to talk in those sorts of terms. Yeah. After hour 4 of the meeting, when Widmer admitted that, yes, additional housing has got to be by somebody's backyard. Sorry. Grand compromise was struck. There will be some new housing units at Menlo College. ADUs will be heavily relied upon, which I think also makes sense. You know the person, you get at least some, I guess you get some money from it, right? If you rent it out.
Well, that's what I was thinking for the Currys. Like, why wouldn't they just buy the parcel behind them that they're worried about,
right,
and build some housing on there where I'm sure they have staff, right? I mean, you have a mansion, you have kids, they probably have a nanny, they probably have people that clean their house. I mean, Aisha cooks, so maybe they don't have a cook,
right,
but they probably have some staff members that they could put there, or, you know, a residence for family members that come to visit. They can build housing there, and put people in it that they trust and that are part of their household. So what's wrong with that? Yeah, fix your problem. Done.
I like RJ's. I'm going to read it, but I'm going to bleep myself. RJ writes, someone needs to tell these fools that they ain't that effing important. Your life, your windows, your yard are of zero effing interest to the rest of us. Exactly. I mean,
lady, nobody wants to see you naked. Chill out.
But also, I understand. I think I need to express it in this way. I want to validate people's feelings. Okay. You're entitled to feel the way you are. And I get it. I get like you're rich. You want privacy. You don't want affordable housing and whatever image that conjures in your mind. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get what you want. And if you don't like it, do what Kim said, buy the parcel next to you or leave. I mean, and it sucks to say, but if the town isn't what you want anymore, you are free to move. But what you're not free to say is because we're rich, we don't have to help in building more housing in the state of California. That's just not feasible. It's just not. Everyone has to bear some of this load. And 348 affordable housing units shouldn't break Atherton. I mean, it just shouldn't. 348 units. That's at least that's my opinion. That's how I feel. Let's see. Nick writes in, rich people's idea of social progress is forcing the slaves to commute. That is, I think, nailing it right on the head. You can drive into my town. You can serve me at my coffee or my restaurant or whatever, my coffee shop or my restaurant. But don't you dare think I'm going to allow there to be property built here that you would be able to afford. I am rich. You are not. Stay where you are. I get to stay where I am. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't mean to be too harsh, but that's what it seems
I think people they fear change. They want their town to be how it always has been.
Right.
And there is this thought, I will tell you, I have heard this from people before when they say, when you're buying a house, don't buy near an apartment complex. You don't want to buy you want to buy in a neighborhood of single family homes, because if you buy near an apartment complex, you're going to have increased crime, right? Those people that live in apartments, they're criminals. They have, they're poor. So they have more, they break into your house. Whatever the thought process is, I think there are people that feel that way.
Yeah.
That, that they want their income level to stay together and this income level to stay over here.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Now, I would say that, and it's not Atherton. I'm not saying that, but I would say that like Danville is a very nice, affluent neighborhood, right? I would say it's a nice neighborhood. I don't know it.
It's no Atherton, but yeah.
It's no Atherton, but let's just say it's a nice neighborhood. Let's just say that. But even nice neighborhoods are not immune to crime. Did you see this story? And I apologize, Kim, if you included it in your news. But this is the intruders that went to a Danville home. And watch this video. They ended up, and I think this is the video of it, so forgive me. Yeah, they ring the doorbell. The Ring doorbell catches them. I mean, it's like Christmas. Look at this.
What are they taking? Are they taking stuffed animals?
And then they ring the doorbell as if to say, they're saying like, we got your house. We got you. They let them know. They actually rang the Ring doorbell and took everything. And I bring this up because people who think I want to live in a nice neighborhood that doesn't have affordable housing or near apartments because that brings crime. Crime can happen anywhere. Doesn't matter how nice your town is. It just doesn't. And in all honesty, and I'm not saying that I would do this, but I would imagine that if you're going to steal stuff and be brazen enough to break into a home, you want to break into the home with the good stuff. I mean... If I'm going to steal something and especially if I'm going to get busted possibly for it, at least I'm going to go for the nice stuff instead of the broken stuff or something like that. I want to make sure I'm breaking into a house that I know has stuff. Again, don't write me. Don't steal people from people's homes. Karen writes in, if it was 20 years ago and Black people tried to buy in Atherton, they wouldn't get in no matter how much money they had. Same with Saratoga, Los Gatos, Menlo Park. Yeah. Judy writes, well, I live in a 30-unit apartment complex in North Concord. Pretty quiet here. I can't say that there's never been trouble in the past 16 years, but it's mostly quiet. I mean, I don't think anybody could say that. If you look, we live in the Bay Area. There's a ton of people that live here. Just because you might live in Atherton or, Menlo Park or something like that does not make you immune. And there shouldn't be an assumption that you're immune to crime just because you pay so much money, right? I mean, most of the time, obviously poor neighborhoods, police responses because of the crime and whatever. It can happen more often in the poorer neighborhoods, but it doesn't mean that just because you're rich, you're immune to any sort of crime.
Sure.
Speaking of crime, did you see, I'm just on a crime tip right now. Did you see this video too? I mean, talk about brazen. So Valena Jones, I believe she's with NBC Bay Area. Yeah, she's with NBC Bay Area. She had this video. Now watch how quickly something like this can happen. Quick story. The other day, I was bringing this up because I'm moving from this house that I'm in now to our new house. And as we're driving there, my daughter needed something from the grocery store. And all the stuff to make the Harry Styles cake. And so that's what it was. So I was like, you have to stay in the car. I love my 13-year-old. She's 13. She can stay in the car. I'm like, stay in the car, lock the doors. But, there's stuff in the car. So honk the horn or whatever if anybody tries to approach the truck. Because I couldn't send her in the store, right?
Right.
So I hurried. I got what? I got a box mix and I got some eggs. I come back out and she all the doors are locked. I left the car running too. So it's she could definitely take control of everything. And then I thought to myself, oh my God, was that smart? I was second guessing myself. I mean, she's almost 14 years old. I was sitting in a car by myself at probably 10, but still I was like, the car was a target. I kind of felt bad about making that decision. Now, after seeing this video, I really feel bad about it. Now this is a video and I want you to watch that black car right there. Hold on. Let me share. That black car is going to get stolen from by the car on the right, by the SUV on the right. And watch how quickly it happens. Oh no, it's the other one. It's the silver one. Watch. Takes the backpack. The door isn't even all the way up. And the guy's on his phone. He hits the button to shut the door. I don't know if he knew.
He saw that his package was taken. He's like, it happened so fast.
Yeah, but I mean,
took in this bag was a laptop, computer, some expensive equipment. And here's the kicker. The very next day, he had to park in that same lot. And that lot apparently is where a lot of people park and wait for someone at the airport to arrive to call and say, we're here, come and get us. Because, you can't park at the airport because the police will move you along. So the next day he goes to park in the same area and his car the windows get smashed.
Oh,
2 days in a row.
Jesus.
And police say the break-ins are very common in this area, but they've never seen one like that, where the guy's sitting in the car and his bag is stolen from the trunk that way. Wild.
I mean, how brazen you have to be that somebody's in the car. I mean, and I will agree with people that, crime, these criminals, something needs to be done. 11 saying, is it California? I don't know if you're talking about this specific thing, but, people call out California and we don't lock people up enough and we don't do enough about crime. One, like we were talking about yesterday regarding the drug problem in the Tenderloin, we need more police officers. We do need good cops to be patrolling these areas. These criminals work together in these large groups. It's very organized. This isn't some guy that just walking down the street thinking it. They've planned this. Look at the cars that these criminals even drive. I mean, BMWs, right? They're making money. This is organized on getting people's expensive laptops and things like that. My friend just posted on Facebook today. She doesn't live in the Bay. She lives in the Sacramento area. Her car got stolen right out of her driveway. Woke up this morning, trying to take the kids to school, and her damn car is gone. My car, now I have a Prius. Thankfully, I have a newer Prius. I think it's 2004 to 2009, the older Priuses. Those are the ones that the criminals target for the catalytic converters, because apparently the catalytic converters on the older Priuses have more of those precious metals that they're trying to get. My precious. But again, I mean, it's what I think about all the time. When my Prius is parked on the street, I am so worried that something's going to happen. Almost every time I have to park outside, I turn it on. I'm like, please don't make a loud noise. Please, may I not be hit. But those things can happen all the time. There was a bunch of thieves that hit a San Francisco neighborhood, and they keep going to the same freaking neighborhood. This is on Shotwell Street in the Mission District. I know.
Man.
Can you imagine? I mean, well, it's like that guy you were talking about. Get your bag stolen. They get your window crashed in. So apparently the owners of Toyota Priuses parked along Shotwell Street in the Mission say thieves have stolen catalytic converters 4 times in less than 4 months. One person says it's like we're sitting ducks. And it's hard to get a catalytic converter. So then you're kind of screwed. I mean, you can't. Let me know, because I'm not a car expert. You can drive your car. It just is going to make that sound, right? It's just spewing whatever into the air. You could still drive it, but then you would get probably hit with a ticket or what have you. But if you don't want to do it, you're asked out. What are you supposed to drive?
Can you still drive it? I don't know if you can still drive it.
Well, I thought that like you could drive it, but it's going to make a really loud noise because the catalytic converter, and it kind of converts all of those emissions and everything. Somebody in the comment, do we have any car experts here? I feel like the car will move. You can drive it. It's not like you're going to get into an accident or the tires are going to fall off. I think that it's just going to make a really loud noise, which is going to alert police officers that your catalytic converter is gone, and then you would get a ticket. You want to Google that for me?
We have a listener who is homeless, had a former Station X listener, and lived in an RV, and his wife is going through some serious health troubles. She's probably not going to survive.
Oh, that's awful.
And he was in the hospital visiting her when thieves hit his RV, the only place that he has to stay, and tried to steal the catalytic converter off of it.
Wow.
This is a person who doesn't have the funds, and it's expensive to replace those. You just feel horrible for people. Like, it's in some cases, you're not, it's different. I feel worse when this is someone's, primary residence.
Yes, exactly.
Where they don't have the money to do that. And they're already going through this tough time in the hospital. And now this, just awful. It's, I know I want thieves to have a conscience, right? I want thieves to think of what people are going through, and they just don't care about what anyone's going through. It would suck enough if someone hit my car in my driveway. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
But then I think of this poor guy, and my heart just breaks. Like, that's what he needed on top of everything else. Catalytic converter thieves suck.
Yeah. Catalytic converter thieves suck. Car thefts suck.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. The thing that I always think about is, what makes you, feel like you have a right to do this to other people? Like, I work hard. I pay my bills. Get off your ass, get a job, do something else besides stealing people. And of course, I also believe in karma, and what goes around comes around. And I truly do, that even if they don't get it in the moment, these people will get theirs in life. They will never be able to fully succeed, be happy, be content, relax, because they are always inviting this sort of energy into their lives. Now, does that make me feel better if my catalytic converter is stolen or my car is gone? No, but it is what I tell myself, because, I have to tell myself something. Okay, so the answer is we can drive it. Floyd says you can drive it and inform the police it was stolen, and they won't ticket you because of the amount of people it's happening to. Nice to know. Phil says you could drive it to the mechanic or home. It will cost you over $3,000 to fix it. You can drive it. It's not as if your car is broken and won't go from A to B, but it'll be extremely loud, which and loud. Yeah. So that's the reality, and you just don't want that to happen to you. Okay, it's Friday. We're going to do some news, and then Tim Sica is waiting in the wings. We're going to talk about movies. I'm going to get his take. There's 2 movies that I have strong opinions on. Well, on whether or not I want to see it. How about that? One is 80 for Brady, and the other is, what is it? A Knock on the Door or something like that? Knock on the cabin.
Yeah.
Those 2. And I know that Tim Sica, I think, has watched both. So I'm excited to see whether or not he likes them, because I have so many questions. So we'll get to those. Again, click the thumbs up button. It helps us out. We love you all. And here's Kim with the news.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Pretty serious allegations in a lawsuit filed. This is against the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Olympic snowboarders accusing it of sex trafficking. The national governing body for snowboarding and the former national team snowboard coach are accused of conspiring to engage in sex trafficking, enabling and covering up of repeated acts of sexual misconduct. That, according to 3 former national team snowboarders in a lawsuit filed just yesterday. That suit in U.S. District Court in Los Angeles alleges former coach Peter Foley committed sexual assault and battery against the plaintiffs and other women for about 20 years with the assistance and endorsement of the U.S. OPC and the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Federation. Now, the lawyers filing the suit say the system is focused on money and medals, not on protecting these athletes. Former Vice President Pence wants the Biden administration to shoot down that Chinese balloon. He says that get it out of there. We don't want it. This balloon, Chinese spy balloon, is moving over the United States. In a tweet, former Vice President Pence also urged Secretary of State Antony Blinken to go through with his visit to China, which was postponed today as officials monitor this balloon. Reports say the balloon is now hovering over Missouri. And China says it's a weather balloon that went astray. No spy balloon here, people.
I just don't understand. Now, I get, if we shoot it down, there's going to be debris. We can probably maybe send, do we know how high in the air it is?
Super high, really high.
So, okay, so it's not like we can all
and
get
it looks like a balloon, but it's enormous, right? It's enormous. It's got metal contraptions on it. What we see here, when you get up close to it, it's massive, right?
So why can't we just, I can't imagine the United States doesn't have something that can fly near it and grab it, because we're just and I'm not saying that it's not a weather balloon or whatever, but I am saying we're taking somebody's word that it is what it is. And why are we doing that? That doesn't make sense to me. So they're like, oh, don't worry about it.
It's like a neighbor sending a drone up over your house, Like,
I'm not looking at you naked. I just wanted to see what it's like up there. No, I think you're looking at me naked. How about that?
And I remain flabbergasted that this is the technology that is being used when there's satellite imagery that is so, accurate.
Because we let them. They're like, oh, it's just a weather balloon. Give me a break. It looks
really a weather balloon that went off course. What is it? And is it an international incident if we did take it down?
No, it's over our airspace. We could take anything we want down.
And do we give it back?
No, we blow it up. Somebody has
But if we blow it up, does that create an international incident where then we create some, more tension with China and have some type of war breakout?
Over a weather balloon? They shouldn't be that upset about it if it's not
our property.
Hey, you know what? Your property is in our airspace. We did not give you permission to be flying your nonsense over our air. It's gone. Bye.
Should it be like, when the neighbor kid throws a baseball into your yard, you pick it up and you hand it back to him?
I don't know. I like Karen's. Steph Curry's wife is worried the Chinese spy satellite filmed her naked. Exactly. No landscaping is going to protect Aisha. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you and former Vice President Pence are on the same page. Shoot it down. Yes. I can see your dog in the background. That's so cute. So, okay, we're talking cold, cold, cold. Thank God we're in California. I'll say that. Forecasters say, folks, yes, it is. I've got my blanket. I'm all toasty in the office. Forecasters say the Northeast should brace for an epic generational Arctic outbreak. What? The possible record-breaking freeze is already invading the region, impacting millions. The coldest air for the Northeast will hit Saturday morning. Listen to that. An epic generational Arctic outbreak. No, thank you.
That's really good news, since we're going to be getting that $90 to $100 credit on our gas and electricity bill. Supposedly, we're supposed to be getting it next month. They were going to do it later, but now they're like, so many of you are pissed about your bill. We'll send it to you next month. Please do. $500, and I'm still freezing my ass off in my house. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, that power bills are ridiculous.
It is.
Okay, so here's a story. I'm telling you, Nikki, the House Judiciary Committee is kicking off an investigation into the alleged targeting of parents by the federal law enforcement officials at school board meetings. Fox News reporting the GOP-led committee subpoenaed FBI Director Christopher Wray, pictured here, compelling him to turn over all the communications pertaining to the DOJ's alleged misuse of federal criminal counterterrorism resources. By March 1st, they want it. At issue, a 2021 memo sent by Attorney General Merrick Garland asking the FBI to investigate potential threats from parents at school board meetings. At the time, groups of parents nationwide were protesting critical race theory and COVID-19 measures at schools. And you remember some of those meetings got really ugly with parents threatening violence against people.
That's insane. I mean, people are going nuts, man. I'm telling you.
Now, this Republican-led committee wants the FBI to investigate to whether the DOJ was, incorrect in having folks that issued threats investigated.
Look, you start threatening people, they should be looking into you, right? I mean, I don't care look, we are giving people so much leeway with stuff, whether it's, oh, you're a domestic abuser, you can keep your gun. Oh, you make threats against school board members. It's okay. You're just hot-headed. I mean, and we wonder why we see the violence that we see. People need to be held to task, so they shut the hell up and get it together. I mean, we're losing decorum at the very least and killing each other at the very worst.
I just don't understand why it's okay to threaten people at school board meetings, why you would investigate the investigators.
Right. Because it's political. That's why they're like, oh, if you're not on our side, now you're investigating me. Why? Because I won't believe in your liberal agenda. That's what I think that they're saying.
Well, I don't care what your agenda is. If you're threatening to hurt people, especially people that are trying to serve your community on school boards, who, by the way, get paid nothing to do so, a pittance, if anything. It's outrageous. I don't understand.
I agree.
Okay, so let's talk about Powerball.
Ooh, all right. What's it up to?
Powerball jackpot keeps on growing, $700 million ahead of the drawing tomorrow night. No one was able to correctly pick all 6 winning numbers for Wednesday's drawing. So the jackpot is now the 6th largest in the history of Powerball at $700 million. It doesn't seem like much when we've seen $2 billion jackpots.
I'll
right?
still take it. I mean, I'm not going to look 700 million in the mouth. I think that we're constantly talking about all these records, though. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another record. Oh, it's another record. All right. I want it my time. I want to win. I have to play. If I want to win them.
Ford Motor Company handing out profit-sharing checks of about $9,000 to their United Auto Workers Union employees. That's a nice bonus. The company says about 56,000 UAW workers will be getting a check. The profit-sharing money is about $2,000 more this year, despite Ford losing $2 billion in 2022. And this report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz for more than 30 years. Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, please call Steve Moskowitz at 888-TAX-DEAL or at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on the amazing Nikki Medoro Show.
Oh, amazing indeed. And Steve Moskowitz is amazing, you guys. Honestly, tax season is upon us. If you have a ton of questions, if you win the Powerball jackpot, you want to know what to do with your money? Give Steve a call. 888 tax deal, moskowitzllp.com. I'm telling you, supporting Steve not only supports our show, but literally you're going to get an expert in his field. We are not just blowing smoke up your butt. I mean, the guy knows what he's talking about. He has helped some of you. You guys have shared stories of how Steve has helped you because obviously we've had a relationship with him all the way from Station X. So please support him as another way of supporting us as well. All right. It is Friday, and that means I need to know what to watch. Now, I'm going to be busy this weekend. I will be moving. So I don't know if I'm going to have time to watch all the movies this weekend, but there are some that I do want to watch. So let's welcome our movie critic himself, Tim Sica. Hello.
Hey, Nikki. Hey, Kim. How are you guys? How you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. All right. So now, did you see all the movies on this list that you sent us?
I have. Yes, I have.
Okay. So I want to start with, I want to end with the 2 that I'm most interested in.
Okay.
I'm going to go in order of my interest, solely based on the description you gave me. Okay.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Let's start with, and I'm not knocking French people, all right? But I'm not French dramas are not at the top of my list. So let's start with One Fine Morning.
Yeah, this may seem like the least sexiest of the movies this week, although there are some good sex scenes in it.
Ooh, okay.
It stars Léa Seydoux, who she was in 2 James Bond pictures. She's a French actress. She played the character of Madeleine Swan in Spectre and No Time to Die. She was the only character in the Bond franchise to have a child with James Bond. Anyway, she plays this woman in this movie who is juggling a lot in her life. She's a single mom. She's raising a young girl. She's holding down a job as a translator. She's dealing with a father who struggles with this neurodegenerative disease. And on top of all this, she's trying to rekindle a past love affair with a married man. And as you said, Nikki, it's a French film in French with English subtitles, and it's a very French film, or one in the style of what I would think is a typical French film. It's kind of casual, breezy, and it deals with a lot of existential angst. But what I like this movie a lot because it's about this woman trying to negotiate her way through a life that is like endlessly challenging, to say the least. But there was nothing depressing about it. It was kind of casual in the way in which it unfolded. It depicted the inherently dramatic dramas of everyday life without the drama that we tend to attach to the things that we're going through. So it kind of dramatized the mundanity of a life in a mundane way that was actually interesting as a movie, if that makes any sense at all. So to me, this was a kind of a unique movie in that it was about this real life, this woman, very interesting woman, besieged by all these vicissitudes that uplifted rather than depressed. I mean, it was breezy, light, and it made me think like, I don't really have a lot of problems when I think about it, when I compare my life to other people and what they're going through. Yeah, so it's a good movie. It's called One Fine Morning, and it opens in theaters today.
All right, good. I like how you put that. I mean, it makes the mundane interesting, which in all honesty, there's movies I can think of. Was it before sunset, after sunset? Remember Ethan Hawke was in this movie, and it was just them walking around and talking. And I loved that movie so much, but it was kind of along that same vein of, it's not really doing anything, but it's very, very interesting.
But it's interesting. Exactly. Yeah. All those movies are. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we have an Oscar nominee next. Is it Close or Close? I can never.
It's close. And, if I had to pick one movie, if I was doing this in the order of, my interest, it would be Close.
Okay.
It's a coming of age drama. It's about this friendship between these 2 13-year-old boys who are best friends and who, for want of another way of describing it, they have this very close bond with each other, and this is where the drama kicks in. This bond is threatened by comments made by their schoolmates, some harmless, some deliberate, but all of which affect the way in which one of the boys begins to view the friendship. And honest to God, ladies, this is one of the most beautiful, touching, tender, and gorgeously cinematic movies that I can ever recall seeing. It dramatizes some really complicated truths about childhood confusion, innocent intimacy between kids, the shattering of innocence, societal ignorance and fear, and the difficulty of parenting. And it's about loss too, because, well, the least said about the plot, the better, but because it's a tragic story and it's a dark story, but it's still filled with moments of light and love and beauty. I found it heartbreaking and powerful, and it just resonated with truth and emotion and beauty. It's in French with English subtitles. It was Belgium's submission for the Oscar for Best International Feature. And in fact, it's nominated in that category this year, along with 4 other really good movies. But if I had to pick one, to be the Oscar winner, it would be Close by, a landslide. Emotionally, it's just pure and powerful, and it's a great movie. Had I seen this before I made my top 10, it would have figured high in the listing.
Wow.
Yeah. You make me want to watch it. Wow.
It's real. Oh gosh. I think for a parent too, it would even be, I've never had kids, so I think even for a parent, it would be particularly affecting. So yeah, see it if you can. It's all right. Really good. It's really
okay.
Good.
Well, speaking of parenting, you have a horror movie, which I love, about the power of motherhood. It's called Baby Ruby.
Baby Ruby. Oh,
is it like Rosemary's Baby or what?
Well, kind of, sort of. I guess you can make that comparison. It's a movie for horror thriller fans.
That's me.
And one for any woman who has ever been pregnant, although I might not recommend this movie for anyone contemplating having a baby, or to or to a woman who is currently pregnant. I wanted to qualify that. But it's a horror movie about postpartum depression, I think, if I had to classify it. And it was a total surprise to me that it was so good. And what does it do? It kind of places front and center the challenges, the anguish, the psychological effects, and mostly kind of like the horror of what it's like being a new parent, and more specifically, what it can be like, what it's probably been like for a number of women out there who have born children following a baby's birth. And again, the least said about the plot, the better, because this is one of those movies that creeps up on you as it goes along in a very good and at times very surprising way. And what was especially interesting about it for me was that it actually talks about and very effectively dramatizes those aspects of pregnancy and the afterbirth experience that many women, and to an arguably lesser extent, many husbands, many men, cannot even look at or question or address or speak about because of what talking about those feelings, what that would look like or make the mother appear to be. And in a way, and this sounds awful, but watching this movie, I can kind of, sort of, in a weird way, understand why some women who are so negatively affected by what they're going through after they have a child kill their babies.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that's kind of really all I should say about Baby Movie, except for how it kind of knocks you sideways in the way a good and thoughtful horror movie can knock you sideways.
I mean, I kind of want to see it because you're really selling it as like this horror movie, and then part of me, the mom woman part of me is like, but I'm gonna see it. I know myself. Now one movie that I'm definitely gonna see, that I'm excited about, my husband is not excited about because he does not care for this man's movies, is M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah,
now, I don't want spoilers. I just want to know, is it a good M. Night Shyamalan, or is it like, oh no, it's the terrible type of M. Night Shyamalan where you wish you had your hours back?
Well, I think it's probably M. Night Shyamalan's best film in years.
Wow.
It's the latest horror thriller from him. And, of course, he did The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
And this story he adapted from this novel called The Cabin at the End of the World. And it's about this family, a same-sex couple, actually, played by Ben Aldrich and Jonathan Groff, and their adopted daughter. And in a way, it's kind of a refreshing way into the invasion thriller that the couple is a same-sex couple. But anyway, they're vacationing at a remote cabin, and suddenly they find themselves being held hostage, right, by four weird, mysterious people who tell them that they have to sacrifice one of their own family in order to avert the apocalypse, right?
Okay.
And talk about a willing suspension of disbelief. I mean, this was one of those movies that seemed ridiculous. I mean, looking at the trailer, and up to a point, even watching it, I'm going, who the hell are these people telling this family that they have to make a choice to save the world? I mean, where do they come from? It just seemed dumb.
Like, shut the door, right? I'm like, nah.
It just seemed stupid, but I like this movie. It's so well directed and performed that at a certain point in the movie, you just kind of go with it. You stop trying to figure it out and analyze it. You just go along with the setup. And by the time it ends,
no spoilers.
No, I'm not. But boy, does it ever land with this impact. It stays with you. It stayed with me. And when it was all over, I felt like I had been through something really significant that moved me, that made me think about what I saw, and it was also a good tense nail biter of an invasion thriller. Yeah.
Yay! I'm very excited about this because I love twist. Does it have the twist ending that M. Night Shyamalan is known for?
Let's just say the ending will knock you sideways.
Yeah,
the ending will knock you sideways.
It always is. It always is. I don't know why I'm even asking that question. All right, now finally, Tim, this is a movie that I am not interested in. I put it at the end because I saw a trailer on Twitter for this today, and I'm like, who the hell asked for this movie? 80 for Brady.
I've already been ridiculed for wanting to see this movie today.
Do you want to see this movie, Kim?
Okay, because first of all, there's some times where some self-deprecating humor is funny. Like, I like that Tom Brady would be able to poke fun at himself this way. And who doesn't like Sally Field, Rita Moreno, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin? These are really funny actresses.
They don't need to be in a movie about Tom Brady. And one, is it really self-deprecating, Tim? Because I feel like a whole movie about women obsessed with Tom Brady feeds his ego.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of. I think it's kind of narcissistic because he produced the movie too. So Tom Brady produced the movie. Yeah, so that means
that is so egotistic.
Yeah, it is. That says something.
But really, Tim, what you say? I mean, what a friggin' powerhouse of female talent is in this movie. Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, Sally Field. They all won Oscars. Well, Lily Tomlin was nominated, but it's about
Rita
a group
Moreno,
of,
like, what do they call it? An EPGOT or something?
Yeah,
EGOT. Yeah, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. Yeah. Anyway, this is about a group of elderly ladies, let's just say, who have this thing for Tom Brady, who love the NFL and want nothing more than to attend the 2017 Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons. And it's a comedy, and it's a movie that I'm just going to be direct about this movie. I hate to trash it because of the amazing cast.
Just say it. It sucks.
Well, wait. Wait. It's a fun idea. This movie. It must have looked really good on paper. I bet it would be a really interesting idea to pitch about these older women who still have a lot of spit and fire, going for them and enthusiasm for football. But honest to God, I thought it was awful.
Oh no!
The whole thing is ridiculously, cluelessly directed by somebody named Kyle Marvin, who I couldn't even. When I looked him up, I thought, "Who the hell is Kyle Marvin?" I don't even know who this guy is or how he even landed this assignment because the comic beats are off. The actresses clearly, in my opinion, looked embarrassed at times. The self-consciousness of the humor is cringeworthy. Most of the actual jokes fall flat. And the contrivances that the screenplay rely so heavily on, they go from out and out idiotic to the appallingly corny to the outright stupid, ending on the embarrassingly bad and painfully awful. I'll tell you, in good critical conscience, I cannot recommend this movie. It was one eye-rolling moment after another, but to its credit, it's really critic-proof. The audience I saw it with, they were like laughing their asses off, and I'm going,
really?
Am I really? They were
something. They were paid off.
Am I stupid or I'm just?
It's like Deflategate, Tim. I mean, they were paid off. It's like
I think
there's something nefarious going on.
Really, I mean, if you're a fan of these actresses, who do have a scene or two where they transcend the material and they remind all of us how really gifted they are. But if you're a fan of any of these women, you'll want to see it. If you love football, you might want to see it. To its credit, elderly people are not made fun of. You laugh. I barely laugh, but you laugh with them and not at them. Tom Brady's in it, so he's got a hell of a lot of fans. I mean, to make this all work, the movie needed like a Chris Columbus at the helm or a Judd Apatow, a director who understood what made comedy work. This, honestly, I could not believe how bad this movie was. But hey,
I have never heard Tim Sica give a more scathing review. That's
really, I was listening to somebody that said that their girlfriend had bought tickets and only 2 tickets when she bought them had been, the assigned seating. Only 2 tickets had been sold to this showing of the movie. I'm listening
to myself go on here, but I'm thinking, God, if it's that bad, maybe I should see it to see if it's really as bad as this guy said it was. Because it really is. It's like a train wreck, and you're watching it, and you go, I cannot believe this is going to get any stupider. And it just continues to get dumber and dumber and dumber. I mean, there's a scene where Sally Field, I don't know, this is like this NFL hot sauce chicken eat off thing, and she's like, out of the blue, she's competing with this other guy trying to stuff as much chicken with hot sauce down her mouth so she could win some kind of prize. And I'm going, where did this come from? What am I watching? What does this have to do?
There's a dartboard somewhere, Tim, I am sure. And all they needed was Tom Brady and those very talented ladies.
I heard that this is based on a true story. That they were really...
Yeah, at the end of the movie, it actually, credit card came on. It said inspired by a true story. And of course it shows this photo of these really old women who look nothing like Jane Fonda or Rita Moreno, of course, you know. But it's like they barely look like they could move. And who even knows what that means, inspired by a true story? That could just mean that somebody said this to some, I don't know. It doesn't mean anything.
That's silly. Yeah, I mean, I was watching an interview with the ladies and it seemed awkward, and now based on your review, it sounds like it's just going to be an awkward watch, but maybe it will become a cult classic. You know, those things.
Yeah, one of those cult classics that's so bad it's good, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tim Sica, we adore you. Thank you so much.
Gosh.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Let him go, and I know we're coming to the end of the show, but Karen has asked this question twice, so I wanted to pose it. She wants to know, Tim, if you've seen Tar.
Yeah.
And why is the LGBTQ community upset about the lesbian character being portrayed as a bully?
You know,
she says, isn't this being too overly woke to where it interferes with art?
Interesting.
She said bullies come in all shapes, sizes, and colors.
Well, I agree with Karen. I mean, I want to tell people, just chill. It's not about you. It's a character in a movie, and it's really not. I don't even think I think her sexuality is so incidental to what that movie is really about. I mean, people are offended all the time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a great
They
movie,
should just
though.
suck it up. Yeah, you were talking about it. You liked Tar, so
Tar was
need to
my
go
number
see
one
it.
movie. Yeah,
exactly. I still need to watch that movie. All right. Well, there you go. From Tim Sica's mouth, Karen. Just people need to lighten the hell up. Okay. Well, we'll talk to you next week. I adore you, Tim Sica. Have a fabulous weekend.
Thank you, Nikki. Bye. Bye. Next week, ladies. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, he's just awesome. I love his movie reviews. And
I do too. He's so much fun.
I will not be seeing 80 for Brady. That thing just looks so awkward. That baby Ruby, though. I don't know.
That baby Ruby. And so what I understand is it's more of a psychological thriller. Like there's not a lot of gore in that horror movie.
But even that is good, I mean,
totally. Like I could see liking this movie.
Oh yeah.
And I will say there are moments where I didn't have postpartum depression, but there are moments when your baby is crying or
and it never ends,
where you can get really, really frustrated and your mind is like you need a break. So I can put myself in that position. I haven't seen the movie, so we'll see, but I could see being interested in it.
Absolutely. And great reviews. It didn't seem like he had any except 80 for Brady that were bad. So there you go. And if you guys see any of these movies, you guys can send me an email, the Nikki Medoro Show@gmail.com, and let me know what you thought. And then we could throw those in at Tim as well. So
many people to thank.
That's what I was just going to do.
Okay.
Thank you. Go through them, click them up for me. So Nick donated $20. Nick, I love you. You participate so much in the chat as well, and I love it. The show is going great. No, I think those are like the little noisemakers. Enjoy your weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. I love that. Beth Farmer with a $50.
Wow, nice.
Thank you, Beth. Congratulations on the new home. It is a rental, but it is going to be our home for, I hope, a long time because I hate moving. But yes, thank you so much. Lewis, $10. It's Nikki's moving fund. Thank you both for putting on a great show and being awesome moms. Thank you for saying that.
Thanks,
you know what's funny is that I've been freaking out about getting my internet connected. So having a conversation with my very handy technical, used to pull cable husband to me on Xfinity, trying to explain whether or not I can even plug in. And my husband goes, "What do you think the coax cable goes to?" And I was like, I don't even know the words that just came out of your mouth. I'm like, I don't know. She just told me I could plug it in and it's going to work. I don't care if I do my show on the phone. I will be here on Monday. Andreas, we love you. You're such a big donor to the show with $20. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Lori with a $20 donation. Giving my daughter props on her Harry Styles cake as the best cake ever. Thank you. That is just so awesome.
And I think we saw this one earlier, but we'll say thank you
again.
Oh,
we say thank you to everybody at the end of the show. Flo with $10. The news in the world seems to get more ghastly every day, but thankful the Nikki Medoro Show helps to make life more bearable. Thank you. I really do appreciate it, Flo. You're awesome. And then Jim Slayton. Remember, Jim was the one that was wearing the Mark Thompson beanie and the Nikki Medoro Show t-shirt.
Yeah.
With the Niners game. Yeah. A $5 donation. Riding my beautiful balloon. Hopefully it's not a weather balloon that should be shot down out of the sky. Sorry, Jim. But thank you to everybody that tunes in. Click that thumbs up button. Visit the shop, the Nikki Medoro Shop, to pick up some merchandise. We love you all. We will be here on Monday. Have a fabulous weekend, Kim. I adore you. And we'll talk again soon. Say bye, Nugget.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.